you write, there comes a time when there is no more need to understand the world in any way.
Yeah, I knew a thing or two when I wrote this book, didn't I? It's a long time ago now. Yes, this is absolutely. You don't need to understand the world. The world's a beautiful machine working perfectly. It's marvelous how the leaves come out in the spring, and then they get tired as summer goes on, and eventually get brown and fall off. All happens wonderfully, doesn't it? By itself. I love what is to understand is to stand under, isn't it? How do you understand a tree, my dears? You just stand under it and you look up at the tree and just glory in it, just wonder at its formation. You know, it's the most wonderful thing to look at a tree. Stand underneath the tree and look up and just, you know, it's I wonder how many of us have ever done it. Not just for a moment. Spend 10 minutes standing under a tree, just looking up the way the branches come out. And then spend another 10 minutes looking at the sky, looking at the clouds. See how wonderful they are. Then you've got another 10 minutes by looking at the grass. See what a miracle the grass is. At the end of half an hour, you'll be a quiet and happy man, full of wonder. It's not really an intellectual process, is it? It's a standing under, acknowledging something bigger and more wonderful than you. Or just try looking at the face. If you've got somebody near and dear enough to you, just really look at their face. See the wonder of the face. Wonder. Lovely word, isn't it? Wonder. Wonder. My God, how wonderful thou art.
John, you write in here about how do you feel? The question which we all have asked people and people have asked us. I always have a little bit, if I'm really honest, an aversion when someone asks me, how do you feel or how are you? But then you go on and you say it refers only to a relatively narrow band of experience called life.
Yes, it does. Yes, spiritually speaking, it's a rather pathetic little question, isn't it? Exactly. Once you get into this wonder world of wonder, then someone asks, how are you? When you could say, full of wonder. But, usually the question refers to something much more mundane, doesn't it? And you've all forgotten all about it. You've forgotten whether your feet are hurting or not, or whether you've got tummy ache, or whether you lost all your money or something. These things have all been left behind, haven't they? Mm-hmm. Yes. And there's a lot of people down there, they pass you. How are you? How are you? They're gone before you got time to think what to say. So people automatically say, oh, fine, or something. And so the whole thing becomes rather a meaningless exchange. I suppose it's a sort of greeting. Some people do that. Some people just look and smile and then look on. That's what I tend to do, just look and smile and nothing. It is the focus of life. It's very much on the physical body, isn't it? That's the standard by which we say how we are, how the body is. We love to talk about their bodies and the visits to the doctor, and how long they've got to wait to have some operation or something. This easily dominates life. Well, there's one way through it, just get bored with it, just get fed up with it. Get on with something better. We do progress in life by eliminating what we don't want, you see, what doesn't interest us really. And then time might come when you think, well, this is really what I want to fill my mind with. What about saving my soul? I might have a little bit less of the media, a little bit more what might nourish the soul. So the search begins. As Jesus says, seek and you will find. But we've got to do the seeking. God helps those who help themselves. Worth remembering that. We tend to think, why does God let this and that happen? Why doesn't God sort it out? What's not God the government?
There's actually one other question I would like to ask. You write on page 239, we say that people are identified with their work or hobbies, but actually before then, and in exactly the same way, we become identified with our separate will. And from there, we forget our true, original, and spiritual being. So it's this identifying with the world, and so it connects to this: how do you feel? What do you do? Who are you?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
I feel like it's a big jump. It's a big jump into the.
It may be a big jump, but I suggest let's try step by step. As I mentioned it several times in this interview, let me come back again to this very, very good little phrase. How about saving your soul? Because this is the way it's been expressed for many, many centuries, if not thousands of years. To save your soul. What, my dear friends, can you take beyond the grave? I first heard that when I was very soon after I started to meditate, when I was still in my 20s, a long time ago, but it made a great impression on me even at that age. What can I take beyond the grave? It doesn't half sort out what's worth and what isn't worth, you know. What can we take beyond the grave? I remember I had an old uncle who used to say to me that he'd once been he was a Belgian actually, and he'd been in a Belgian monastery, and he was very struck by the fact that these monks in this monastery would say to each other as they passed in the passage, instead of saying, "How are you?" they'd say to each other, "Remember, brother, that you're going to die." Now, that would be a lot more use, wouldn't it, than saying, how are you? Remember, brother, that you're going to die. Oh, that doesn't have thought out. Think from the goats, doesn't it? What have I done today that has moved me in that direction, that has helped, that has built up, as it were, spiritual capital in the bank rather than financial capital that I can't take with me? It really is. It's just like putting spiritual pennies in the bank, my dears. Start small, and it'll gradually build up. That's the real investment worth having. And you'll go forth with confidence. Makes all the difference in the world. There are ways of working. Just do that. We learn to work with attention. It's coming to the end. I've used up the time now. But I've referred to this many times in other videos. But there's the book I wrote describing my early farming years called Mystic Apprentice, and I was just beginning to get to grips with all of this. And I subtitled it Working for Love. If we learn to work with love rather than what's in it for me, of course, being ego, then it's a step in the right direction. When we went to church path this evening, there was another, I won't call it old lady, she didn't like that. She was not so far behind me. We had exchanged a few words as we walked up the path together. She said, it's love that matters in this life. Without love, what is life? It makes you worth living. Amen to that. We're lucky enough to find it. Remember, you are going to die. What can we take beyond the grave? Well, maybe love. Maybe love. Still love.